Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Every bit of support is greatly appreciated. Now let's get to the video. Bunch. Yeah, this one's not going to be an emotional roller coaster. My last two have been that. Let me do something stupid. Pixar had 2 releases this year, and the better of them, by 20 miles, was Inside Out. A lot of people have talked about this movie and its emotional story and fun characters, and yeah, I pretty much have to agree with everything that they say. Yeah, go figure, after dropping my biggest Pixar hot take, I decided to go right back to I agree with you on everything. Inside Out is just a great film, and it's crazy to think of how great it really is. Following joy and emotion within the head of a younger girl named Riley. She keeps Riley happy, but she starts to learn about the other emotions, specifically sadness, disgust, fear, anger, and anxiety. Oops, that's a sequel. Anxiety! Fuck! Of course, Joy just wants Riley to be happy, but when her and Sadness get separated from HQ, she starts to learn that, yes, being happy is good, but sometimes you gotta have the other emotions in there. First thing I'll talk about are the emotions as characters. The casting team clearly worked hard to get the right cast together for this because every single one of them works. Amy Poehler plays Joy, and yeah, she is pretty great at both being over the top happy, but also learning to slow down and allow other emotions to seep in. Sadness is voiced by Phyllis Smith, who isn't that prominent of an actor, but once again, her voice really plays up the emotion, both figuratively and literally. Bill Hader voices Fear, and you guys know I love Bill Hader, so yeah, I really liked him. Lewis Black voices Anger, and he is the best character. His lines are just comedic gold.
So, how are we gonna get to Minnesota from here?
Well, why don't we go down to the elephant lot and rent an elephant?
Hey, that sounds nice.
We're taking the bus, Nick!
Even Mindy Kaling, an actress I really don't care for, is pretty good as disgust, aka the emotion I get when I watch Velma. I have one character I didn't get into, I'll get to him in a bit. The story is also pretty emotional as it deals with change, family, and holding on to old memories while also leaving room for new ones. It's also really funny. I think this is one of the more underrated Pixar films in comedy. A lot of people associate it with being more emotional, but there are some really good moments that get good laughs. The ending is one of Pixar's best in my opinion, genuinely just raw emotion that works so well and mixes every emotion in one. You really do feel for Riley in this moment. If I had to complain about any of the characters, I'm sorry, I don't like Bing Bong. I get what he's supposed to be, that imaginary friend that everyone's had. I had an imaginary friend like that. And don't get me wrong, when he sacrifices himself, that shit's emotional. But I think they could have made him funnier. That's Richard Kind, a voice that I usually associate with making me laugh. And if he had better writing, I probably wouldn't have had a problem with him. This isn't the same as Months, though, where I didn't see why he was in it at all. It's very clear why he was in it. I just wanted his writing to be funnier, and it wasn't. That's just my problem. Again, there's bare minimum problems here, and honestly, very few Pixar films have that, so yeah.
We just need to go to our happy place.
6, 7, I just been right on the highway.
It's time for Terminologies with Dr. Xander, yeah! What up, twin? Am I fatter than last video? Who cares? So today we're talking about emotion baiting. Now, emotion baiting is when a film tries to make you think that it's emotionally depth, but it isn't. It likes to make you think that there's some deep, complex message when in reality, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Of course, we have our example of the Good Dinosaur, but Santa Inc. also notably did this by making you think it was saying something new about the male-dominated workforce. I actually liked Santa Inc. Yeah, in the same year Pixar gut punched us, it also delivered a swift kick to the crotch with the Good Dinosaur the following winter. Yeah, it's pretty freaking boring. It's not even Lightyear or Cars sequel bad, it's just... Rewatch my skit, I put a lot of effort into those. This movie thinks it's emotionally gripping and has a lot of depth to it, when in reality, it is the most boring thing Pixar has ever put out. I was more emotionally invested in Brave, I am serious. This follows a young dinosaur named Arlo. No, not that Arlo. No, it's this kid, I don't know. He befriends a human caveman kid named Spike. He's not a porcupine, so sadly I can't have any emotional attachment to him. I would say I'm joking, but that is the exact issue with this film. You really want to get emotionally attached to the characters and have some sort of bond to them, but they don't really have that much personality. This was the same year we got Joy, and I can already write paragraphs about why Joy is a good character. Okay, so I just got my college essay assignment. Why Arlo is the best main protagonist in a Pixar movie. Well, I'm failing. There's just nothing to him. He's a good dinosaur who wants to help Spike. Spike is a character I look at and think, oh, Donnie Thornberry, you know, maybe he's mute, but he'll have some funny-ass moments. And he doesn't. The big thing is that he acts like a dog. Cool. But when I do it, I'm considered a furry. Okay, whatever. The villains ain't shit, the other characters ain't shit, the story is boring. It is panderingly boring. It's like Pixar realized how heavy Inside Out would be and said, yeah, let's give something for the kids for Christmas. I want to like this movie, and it doesn't even come close to my worst Pixar film, but God knows I can't think of more than 3 moments from it. It is practically forgettable on every level. So, Square Enix has a known game on Guardians of the Galaxy. It's one of my favorite Marvel games, and here's the thing. That game and this TV show are proof that Guardians of the Galaxy just can't fail. Yeah, most people may not know about this show, but honestly, it's pretty cool. It's another adaptation of the thing James Gunn made famous. No, the other one. Except it's fully animated and ran for 2 seasons on Disney XD. Yeah, it's known that Disney didn't have a major release, so I'm taking to Disney's TV stuff, and as far as I'm concerned, this isn't as good as the movies or even the Square Enix game, but I put it somewhere with the Christmas special. It's different and a little lesser, but it's still pretty good, and more importantly, it's still Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the characters we love, it's the humor and the action and the music, it's everything we want in a Guardians of the Galaxy TV show. One day I will give that damn Square Enix game its justice. Oh yeah, this train wreck. So, you know the show Sanjay and Craig, that weird-ass Nickelodeon show that relied heavily on gross-out humor and stupid jokes that wouldn't work for most audiences over 13? That is exactly what Pickle and Peanut is. Yeah, in this weird stretch of A character and B character shows that ran in the mid-2010s, we have the worst one. I'm usually all for weird and surreal animated shows, and who knows, this may have worked nowadays with shows like Smiling Friends and Haunted Hotel being so popular, but I think it was just the wrong time. Though I found out Peanut is voiced by Bo from Superstore, and with that visual, it did make the show pretty funny.
Here I go, whipping up one of my favorite spells! Give me that freaking biblical cord, dog.
So I have heard everything from people love this show to people despise it. I've never heard a full consensus on Star vs. the Forces of Evil. And as far as I can tell, I find it alright. I think it's clear it's not a show for me, and even more clear it was a product of Gravity Falls' insane success, but as far as those go, I think there have been worse. It follows a girl, Star, who's like this princess, I don't care enough, and then there's Marcus, who's the character that everyone liked, I guess. And, you know, aliens, weird magic, forces of evil. I couldn't get into this show, but my sister did, and honestly, I can see why. It is very entertaining. Not as much as my goat Bill Cipher, though. Okay, so I saw a comment on one of my posts, I can't remember which one, when I was talking about 2015, the Tinkerbell movie that came out this year better be in it. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, twin. I forgot to watch it, but I'm gonna make y'all a deal. 50 likes, and I'll do a Tinkerbell retrospective. I know I've done a lot of like goals, but there you go. That is 50 likes, and I'll do it. Yeah, home. Like Good Dinosaur, not even a bottom 10 DreamWorks film, but you get what it's trying to do from day one. What if Funny Bazinga Man was an alien? That is the entire premise, and no, it offers no new scenarios, a few funny moments, I'll admit, but a pretty jarring casting choice that I've never understood. To this day, I was 13 when this dropped, and 10 years later, I have no idea what they were doing with this casting. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The film follows O, who's named that because that's what people say when he's around. I never laughed at that joke. Him and his alien race find Earth to be their new home as they're trying to get away from another alien race, and I will admit, their introduction was really crazy. We'll get to that. Of course, when O fucks up, he's exiled by his race and stumbles into one of the few humans not taken over by the aliens, a girl named Rihanna. Yes, that's the casting I was talking about. Rihanna is trying to find her mother, Jennifer Lopez. Yes, she has a name, it's Jennifer Lopez. So O and Rihanna team up to, I don't know, save the world. So I will go over the good things. It has a few. For as obvious a casting as it is, Jim Parsons isn't horrible as O. The character's cute enough, and not every joke is bad, but the whole deal is he talks weirdly because he's an alien. You could argue it's a play on how Sheldon talks in Big Bang Theory, but that's funny that you think bringing that show up will get this film any brownie points. The music's actually alright. Both Rihanna and J-Lo have one song each, and I mean, that was obvious, but they aren't bad songs. Steve Martin voices the Boov captain, and come on, it's Steve Martin. He's really funny, and yes, he is the saving grace of this film. I've used the Officer Kyle scene so many times, and for good reason, it's pretty funny.
I erased him. I miss you, Juice WRLD. I miss you.
But, yeah, that's about it. For as good as he can get, O is annoying about 60% of the time. He just talks weirdly and says weird stuff, and your parents want to see this because Bazinga Man is voicing him. And let me tell you, they say Rihanna's character's name multiple times. Tip, tip. They say it over and over, and guess what? Listen to her voice.
No, you cannot come into the out now. You can never come into the out ever again.
When the sun shines, we shine together. Yeah, it's just Rihanna's voice. She has a very notable voice, guys. The same problem arose just this year with Smurfs, and that was also not very fucking good. It's almost like every 10 years, Rihanna has to revive her popularity by starring in a kid's movie. And the main character in the SpongeBob movie 28 is Rihanna. Somehow that's actually better than Big Guy. Don't make me call security. J-Lo is barely in it, but she's literally J-Lo. It's the same deal as Ice Age 4. It's just because J-Lo is a famous musician who can provide an original song for the film. Wait, she didn't do that in Ice Age 4, I just realized that. The climax of this film is way too epic for it to be home, I'll just say that much. Like I said, it's not even a bottom 10 DreamWorks film, it's just so meh. Everything you think happens in this movie, it does. It has an occasional good laugh, and I will say it happens every 10 minutes or so. But otherwise, not much to it, man, I'm sorry.
Before I got the password, I erased him.
This is my favorite Blue Sky Studios film. The Peanuts movie is what I call a good comfort film, and I have two notable ones. One is the 2011 Muppets movie, and this is the other. Being based on the Charles Schulz cartoons, we follow kind of a few stories as the Peanuts specials usually did, but the main one is that there's this new girl moving in, and Charlie Brown shares sort of a connection with her. But also Snoopy has his own adventures, and we just see how the Peanuts all live together. Something I always enjoyed with the Peanuts is that nice warmth each of the specials have, but also that sense of almost dullness, and not in a bad way. Look at A Charlie Brown Christmas, the scene with Charlie and Linus talking on the wall. That's a really iconic scene, yet it's a scene that questions Christmas rather than praises it. This movie really understands not to be too cheery. It does have those, as I'll call them, wall moments, where they do slow down to let the characters breathe and talk. Snoopy isn't a character I usually think of as funny, but he is pretty great here. This whole thing with the Red Baron and the big air fight, you've seen it before, but this is a bigger production, and they do go big with it. While on the topic of this scene, Snoopy has a love interest, this female dog named Fifi. And I know that her name is Fifi because she has a voice actress, and it's not like a small Fiverr level voice. No, it's Kristen Chenoweth, you know, the original Glinda from fucking Wicked. I would like to stress, this is all she does in this movie. She was probably the highest paid actor in this film. On that topic, Noah Schnapp of Stranger Things fame voices Charlie Brown in this, and I'll be honest, Schnapp isn't my favorite of the Stranger Things cast, but he does sound eerily close to the original voice.
I couldn't have done it without you. The old Charlie Brown would still be lying in bed with a stomachache. I'll take this little tree home and decorate it, and I'll show him it really will work in our play.
On top of that, I think this film understood the big assignment here. Don't go too big. Outside of the Red Baron scenes, it doesn't really try to be a big production because that's not what Peanuts is. If it did go bigger and try to have a bigger plot, I wouldn't have cared for it that much. Also, you'll pick up the style matches the original cartoon as well. Like the Captain Underpants movie though, it understands it's a CG movie, so you can't just be moving from one side to the other. You have to have some actual engaging movement, and thankfully, the animators behind this one understood. Do I have any issues with this film? Yes, I do. It has a Meghan Trainor song. You can do better than that! I could have my Gucci... Oh, wait, no. I could have my Gucci Louis Vuitton... Fuck! Sony Pictures Animation had two releases this year, with their theatrical one being Hotel Transylvania 2. Yeah, this is the last Hotel Transylvania movie I haven't talked about yet. As far as I'm concerned, it's a slight downgrade from the first, but it's still really good. Following Drac, once again voiced by Adam Sandler, as his daughter Mavis gives birth to the next in the Dracula heritage, Dennis. However, as Dennis was birthed from Johnny Splooge, there's a chance Dennis won't be a vampire. So when Mavis and Johnny go to visit his folks, Drac and the gang try to help Dennis get his fangs. The film is a lot bouncier and hyper than the first, which, yes, it had a lot of hyper animation, but knew to slow down. And this one does that too, but it definitely is more hyper and bouncy, and for the most part, when it is like that, it's fine. Other than that, Drac is once again really funny, even having one of the funniest bits in the franchise, and we'll get to it soon. Mavis is somewhat sidelined, but I give credit, the first film was about her and this one isn't, and that's okay. This is the one with the least amount of Johnny, and I will always take that. But Dennis isn't just a throwaway baby character, he does represent a lot of those charms both of his parents have. Also, I'm gonna say it, his little romance with Winnie is genuinely so fucking cute, oh goddammit! All the other monsters do get good laughs. They notably had to replace CeeLo Green as Murray, and instead he's voiced by Keegan-Michael Key, and I'ma keep it a buck, why wasn't he just the voice in the first film? CeeLo Green can do a lot of things, but be funny is not one of them. This camp that Drac went to as a kid is funny because he remembers it being this hardcore training camp, and then he sees how dumbed down it's been, and honestly, the whole camp scene is just really funny. Them dropping Dennis off the tower, oh my god. The bit I was talking about was this recording of Drac talking bad about Mavis's parenting. Now, you know that's gonna get back to Mavis, and she's gonna see it, but that's not what she sees. She sees a YouTube poop remix of it. Sounds like something my boy Spaceboy would make, low-key. If I had a big complaint, when it gets to Dennis's birthday, Drac invites his father, who's voiced by Mel Brooks, and Mel Brooks is a funny guy, but the entirety of him in this weird bat thing, it just feels unnecessary. It just adds a third act climax that it's not bad, it's just really out there. But overall, that's just a nitpick, and Hotel Transylvania 2 is a bit of a downgrade from the first, but it's still a decent film.
Here we go!
Oh shit. I'm gonna be honest, for a while, I didn't even know they made an open season 4. Yeah, 5 years later, Sony just wants us to remember their Toy Story, and I mean that in every possible wrong way. Open season scared silly. Sure. Yeah, that's about the only thing I can say. Sure. It's not nearly as bad as Open Season 3, but yeah, sure. The film follows Boog as he's scared silly. Yeah, baby! Goaty! Wait, no, not Goaty. Grammy! Where do I start? It's boring beyond belief. It's not even bad, it's just so fucking nothing. I go to Burger King. Wait, no, I don't go to Burger King. Burger King's trash. I go to Wendy's. Still wrong. They haven't hit this year. I go to McDonald's. Oh, come on, an AI ad? I go to Culver's. Has Culver's done anything bad? Okay. I go to Culver's and I order a nothing burger, and this is what they give me. A movie so obnoxiously nothing that it barely gives anything of note. Boog is in drag at one point. Oh, because Martin Lawrence played him in the first movie and Martin Lawrence was in Big Mama's house. Sure, I don't care. I'm moving on. So we have the point where people think I'm stupid or something. I like the 2015 Minions movie. Okay, it's not a masterpiece, but I found it to be really entertaining and yes, even funny at points. The film explores the history of the Minions, and yes, historically the Minions serving great and powerful leaders of evil would mean they had to serve the German mustache man at some point. I'm from Ohio. Of course, all the leaders they end up serving end up dying, usually because of them. However, after finally finding a leader who seems to understand them, a famous supervillain voiced by Sandra Bullock, the Minions do funny shit, I don't know. It's very much not a plot-focused movie, but I still think it has some funny moments. In the first half of this film, seeing all these horrible people that the Minions had served is just really funny, and it's even funnier to see how they caused each of their deaths. This leads me to believe they actually shot that German mustache man, but I don't think we need to speculate. Pat, I know you're the least retired man in the world, but you could come back for a film theory on that, right? What do you mean you were in? This villain convention is just really funny. Though I think it was Nostalgia Critic who brought up how conventions weren't this popular in the 60s. Oh well. Sandra Bullock is one of the funniest human characters in these movies. I think a lot of people always see her as a Julia Roberts type, or if you want to go more modern, she was in the 90s what Sydney Sweeney is today. She has great genes, I'm sorry. This movie looks like ass, by the way, but she is really funny. One of the first scenes she's in, she immediately steals the spotlight.
All these villains, and yet I still have the bear. Stuffed bear. Why am I holding a bear?
The Minions are fine. They're not that funny, but they do get a few laughs. A lot of people say the film loses that humorous edge halfway through, and I do agree with that. Around the time where Sandra Bullock's character becomes Queen of England, that's when I realized, yeah, the film's not gonna get that many laughs. They just have the Minions in somewhat funny scenarios, and hey, this film does have better use of the best dog breed corgis than that fuck-ass Queen's Corgi movie. But again, I don't think the film dies, it just comes to a halt, and it's very slow. Even the part where the film gets this huge-ass kill count, it's pretty basic, and reminds me, oh yeah, this company made, Minions. With that, the people who hate this movie go off, I guess, but they are being overdramatic. Oh boy, I have a story for you guys. I have recorded this segment 3 different times. The first one was when I originally did the voiceover, but for some reason, specifically this segment, like, and then a little bit of the F is for Family segment, which is after this, it just cut out. Like, the microphone must have cut out or something, and it immediately cut back in. And then the second one I re-recorded, my computer decided to have an aneurysm and have a storage problem. And I had to get rid of things on the fly, and I didn't realize I got rid of the re-recorded Shaun the Sheep moment. And now, it is a day before this video comes out, so I'm just gonna give my bare minimum thoughts because I'm sick and tired of this fucking segment. I'm sorry that I have to be like that. I mean, I like this movie, but it is a great movie, all things considered. I mean, it's Aardman. You expect Aardman to be a decent provider for quality. I really enjoy that this is no dialogue. I mean, there is a few lines of dialogue, but there's not a lot of it. And that's about it. I'm really sick of talking about this movie. I surprisingly have talked about this movie more than anything else in this year, so yeah. So you probably will look at this show at face value and assume it's just another rushed Family Guy clone. I don't want to like F is for Family. Then you don't get any fucking candy. I really freaking love this show, dude. I know it's crass and crude and just everything a bad adult animated show would be, but it also does take some time to tackle serious issues. I do think in the best ways, BoJack Horseman had a huge impact on Netflix's adult animated scene. Knowing to be funny, yes, but also to tackle some serious issues in a way that really does feel genuine. They tackled mental health at one point, and I really appreciate that as someone who dealt with that. And still does. But I don't want to be depressed! Then you don't get any fucking candy. Then you don't get any fucking candy. I got it. Then you don't get any fucking candy. That's Bill Burr as Frank Murphy, and he's really funny in this. I'm usually hit or miss with his comedy, but he is really great. Though he sounds like Andrew Santino at times, and that threw me off. But to be fair, they both sound the same when they're angry. I don't want to watch Bill Burr's comedy specials. Then you don't get any fucking candy. The whole family is just great to watch, and I recognize Debbie Derryberry's voice anywhere. Rest in peace, Jeffrey Garcia, by the way. I don't want to recognize Jimmy Neutron's voice actor. Then you don't get any fucking candy. It's a pretty great it's a pretty great adult animated show. Crude beyond Get Out, but it's fine. I want to watch Big Mouth. Then you don't get any fucking candy. Oh yeah, Strange Magic. 2015 was a weird ass year. Strange Magic is the worst animated movie of 2015, but I do give credit it is only bad. It's not one of the worst animated films of all time, but god, it's bad. It's easily one of the worst of the year. Following, I don't know, fantasy shit. George Lucas worked on it. Actually, it was his last project with Lucasfilms Animation. The script is horrible. How every character talks in this is just ridiculous. This is a jukebox musical, and before you ask, no, the advertising didn't show that at all. But jukebox musicals especially are a hard sell because it's reusing popular songs in a way that feels lazy. In something like Sing, it works because the songs mostly correlate to how a character is feeling in the moment. But here... what the fuck? The characters, I don't even bother remembering. They just don't leave any impact. And the romance themes just don't work. A predictable story, jarring musical numbers on par with Joker 2, yeah, I said it. The only good thing it's got going for it are the visuals, which are, yes, very good visuals. Other than that, ugh. Oh yeah, Assemblage's debut film. Again, very much nothing. It's not as bad as Assemblage would eventually make, but I can't say it's anything special either. Thankfully, I've covered every Assemblage movie on this series now. The fuck? Cartoon Network had a pretty good year with their TV movie of Regular Show. Regular Show is my favorite Cartoon Network show, so naturally, I understand this is just more of a cinematic episode of the show, and as far as it goes, I think it works. It's still the same Regular Show we've come to love. Yeah, I bet you fuckers are apologizing this show right now. I bet you assholes are on the ground groveling at this show's feet because it could have been worse. Be Cool Scooby-Doo was heavily criticized by Scooby-Doo fans when it came out, and if you looked at it, you'd probably understand why. It looks like a weird Paradise PD type show, and the animation just doesn't look that great. With that said, I don't care, this is one of the funniest Scooby-Doo shows. It has the same humor and setup as Scooby-Doo, and I really do think the focus was the humor. I get that this was the first big Scooby-Doo project following Mystery Incorporated, so maybe people feel like this wasn't the right move at the time, but considering way worse moves could be made, yeah, shut up. You don't get any fucking candy?
It's because the monster always follows Shaggy and Scooby, and it gives us a chance to take a breather.
Like I knew.
We Bare Bears doesn't have much outside of just being a damn good show. This was one of the last years I really paid attention to Cartoon Network, and honestly, it really represents that era for me well. That was around the time I was trying to mellow out from the hyperactive cartoons I watched as a kid, and honestly, We Bare Bears isn't any of that. It's a very much slice-of-life type show that may not be one of the funniest, but always left me feeling good. Not much else to say, it's just a fun, warm show that I always find myself enjoying an episode of. Don't make me call security, then you don't get any fucking candy. I'm sorry, I can't. That's not the next thing, I'm sorry. That's not gonna... Yeah, the reason I'm doing this fuck-ass year, Sponge Out of Water. I know it's common knowledge that any of the SpongeBob things after the movie is poison, but honestly, two things exempt from that rule. The first are the video games, and the second, in my opinion, is Sponge Out of Water. Okay, don't get me wrong, this movie isn't nearly as good as the first, but I'm really tired of people saying it's bad. The film follows SpongeBob and Plankton having to team up in order to find whoever stole the Krabby Patty's secret formula. The Krabby Patty secret formula? Then you don't get any fucking candy? I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening. A pretty by-the-book SpongeBob plot, and here's the problem. The film has the same issue that Minions has, but this time I think it does hurt the film a bit. The first half, the half that's done in traditional 2D, is really good with great writing and amazing visuals for a SpongeBob movie. The second half is when they decide to go to the surface and become superheroes, and yeah, that's when the film really gets lame. Even as someone who defends this movie, I usually do for the first half, and then the second half starts and I just hit that Yeah, even I'll admit, this second half reeks of modern SpongeBob. Okay, Sandy being a realistic squirrel is pretty funny. So good that I want to look at some concept art to make this joke. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa! Wait a minute, that's what I'm missing out on? I never thought Sandy Cheeks would make my meat speak to me, but here I am. Overall, I'd say the first half more than makes up for the second half. Sadly, I will say this film had serious case of false advertising, as it mostly advertises the CG hybrid segments, while the 2D stuff is barely noted in any trailer. I genuinely don't get why they didn't advertise that stuff. It was easily the best part. Matt Berry plays a dolphin Time Lord. This is a SpongeBob movie, don't look at me like that. It's a rough go-around, but honestly, I think it's better than most give credit.
Under your shirt.
I gotta wrap this up quick. Nickelodeon's biggest fumble on a show ever. What the fuck is this? I've never heard of it. Looks ass. Next. So we come to one final film, and I'm not even gonna talk about it yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm officially announcing my Christmas 2025 special right here, right now. On December 23rd, 2025, I'll be dropping my last video of the year, my Christmas special. Drum roll, please. God damn, enough drum roll! Energizer Bunny thought he was the main character. Vanguard Animation. Yeah, I know that's lame, but trust me, there's a reason I'm talking about them. Until then, I'll see you guys December 23rd. And if you decide you don't want to watch it, then you can eat fucking candy.